maybe I should just make a little puller. Go straight down here. Those two little threaded holes, the little plate across the top, so the plate pushes against the center axle of the steering, and then basically as you tighten it, they will want to go in and push the plate deeper in, which means that they're going to be pulling this adapter and plate away. That might just be the answer. Let's hope I don't destroy the thing, but I think that is the answer. Make up a quick little puller, get this thing pulled off, and then I should be able to get the old steering back on that came from the US. Yeah, I think that's the answer. Go and make up something quickly to fit in there, try and pull this thing off in one. That might just be a saving grace. Back in a bit. So typically modern metric don't fit. And you come to this weird little guy that I found. I've got a pair of them at least, so that's a good start. I can always make this with a bit more extending and whatever, and putting a longer piece of material in to get the force down the bottom there. But this is typical. You're not going to find the right nut or bolt. Saying that, I have an old tin of junk which might just have the answer, so I'm suspecting this is some kind of imperial, because being a 90, there's a good chance that this had a mix of imperial and metric nuts and bolts everywhere. This, obviously being American, is, as an aftermarket piece, is probably threaded in imperial. So yeah, always a challenge, but it's good fun. We'll carry on and fiddle and mess about. Right, so I've kind of made up a handful of bits. Let's hope this works. It'll be really nice if it just comes together easily and does the job that I wanted to do, which is to pull off this whole front section. A couple of washers go in the back, just to keep the lengths of pipe that I've added in place, and then this little plate will sit down the other end, basically sitting on top of the steering shaft. So let's see where we get. Start off with one, see if we can get that threaded. It's a good place to start. I think I might need more washers to pack it, but I won't worry about that until the job dictates that. The centers were 40mm, which is interesting. Just need to try and make this thing. Because this definitely seated deeper earlier on. One thing I don't want to do is cross thread or destroy things before I even start. Never clever to force things. My dad taught me that you could break your thumb off in your arsehole with a bit of extra force, so certainly not going to be trying any of that tricks today. I think that my centers are ever so slightly cockeyed by the magnitude of 0.5 millimeter or thereabouts. So I'll show you what I've got in the meantime. So we're going to have that plate down there pushing back against these when we start tightening them, and then hopefully that'll pull the whole lot out toward me. Fingers crossed. I'm just going to go down to the shop quickly and see if I can get this thing a little bit looser, because that might just be my answer. It's literally 1 millimeter over to the left or toward the center for either of the holes. Back in a bit. Alright, ready for take 2. Brought a couple of extra washers, just one on each side as well. I'd rather have too many washers, I guess, than too few. We'll do that. Have one on each side. That just means that you're going to need less thread to pull the whole lot apart. So, take 2. There we go. Much better. That millimeter that I went toward the center seems to have made all the difference. Now the next trick, of course, is a small little prayer and a bit of hope. There you go. Let's see what happens when you start tightening this. Nothing's happening, and this is aluminium, so this is not good. I'm not sure if the tension on here is going to make any difference if I use the hammer and actually bang it. That seems to have pulled slightly. Maybe it is working. But I hate the idea of breaking something off by force. Yay! Now, that is incredibly good news. With my little puller, managed to get that off. That's really good news. This looks alright. That's the original cancel button, I guess. The indicators. Now the trick will be to reassemble this in the correct way, which is Chevrolet sign up. Right, let's see where this goes. That's straight on, which is good. There, however, is, let's see where my steering is. My steering, even though now it's sat this way, and I would like it to be sitting this way, so everything is centered. This little piece here, which, as I said, is the cancel for the indicator, as far as I know, or is it the connection for the hooter? I can't remember. But that, that may just, wait, it's not the cancel, so I can go in and just see. That goes through there. That moves, so if it's centered through its dedicated hole, seated in there, means you've got a horn push that works while you're steering. The biggest concern is the fact that this thing is not in a position where I want it to be. So what have we got? We have a steering wheel that is here in this position. And just looks like we don't have a problem. Small circlip. Small circlip, I believe, somehow has to be fitted over there somehow, or is it a little bit further back, in fact there, but I suspect there's a special tool for that to stop the nut from coming out when you're driving, because you really don't want to sit with the steering wheel in your hand while you're driving. Right. Can't see that being such a big problem, but having centered the steering wheel, at least that part seems to be good. Now the trick will be to get this horn button through there. Ah, the madness, the madness, the madness, the madness. Man with no tools. Well, all the tools are in the garage. Trying to see if I can thread horn push contact through the hole, and it looks like I will need something a little bit pointy to guide it through this way, but that's not too difficult. Right, let me go fetch a small screwdriver. I'll be back in a moment. small screwdriver. Let's see if we can find a way to get this through that hole. But I suspect that this thing goes on first and then the horn push comes on after. That is my very faint suspicion. Let's see. If I do this, because at the end of the day, come to think of it, you cannot tighten the nut or put the circlip on unless you have the cap off. Aha. I think that is the answer then, to some extent. I hope that the volume on this recording is reasonable so people can hear it. If not, then I am sorry. Still haven't figured out what this button's for. Anyway, so there's that. Little circlip has to go on. That might be easier than not. Can't see it being that difficult, but I've said that before. Easy job. Ooh, 3 hours later, skinned knuckles, broken tools. Halfway and the other way. Boom. Easy as that. Right, we now have a circlip on there to stop the actual steering wheel from coming off. Last job, get this little guy threaded through there. And hopefully that will be our answer. I'm hoping. Tuck this behind that. Right, so we don't have a horn, but we do. So this horn button for the moment, I'm not going to worry about. But we have an original steering wheel, which I personally like a whole lot more. Taste will differ, but I think that, thank you very much. Kindness of strangers, that is a whole lot better. Once I've polished it, cleaned it up with a bit of cleaning materials, it'll be good. Very happy. Of course, can't wait to take this thing for a drive tomorrow.